Hi everyone, it's me again, and we're on episode 6. It's taken me a while since my last um, episode, but here we go again. This has been a long awaited subject for this episode. I finally got all the components for my Raspberry Pi. Originally it was going to be a one episode thing, but I wanted to cover all the components and putting it together. And then in the next one, I want to do firing it up, getting it online, and installing a few programs just to show you exactly what this can do. Now, potentially, it can replace a whole desktop tower unit. Um, it it probably would to some degree. It just wouldn't be as fast because it only comes with 4 gigabytes of RAM, and preferably you want 8 gigabytes and up. So it would do good for like word processing, getting online, just the basic stuff. Nothing too labor intensive like this editing right here that I'm doing or other things. Anyway, let's go ahead and get her going. Hope you enjoy. Play this. Okay, here's our first look at our complete Raspberry Pi 4. When I first started with this project, I was going to get the newest on the market, which is the Raspberry Pi 3, which this case goes to. It doesn't fit the Raspberry Pi 4, so I had to carve on it to get the ports to fit just right. And that came with a monitor, which doesn't work with the 4, so I'm going to sell it on eBay. Maybe someone will want it. And right here, you can see a little tiny micro SD card. Mine is a 32 gigabyte. And the reason why I got so much gigabyte is because the operating system and any programs that I put on it will be stored on that. Now, I got this it's an adapter. You just slide that in there, put that in your computer, download your operating system, take this out, and put it in your Raspberry Pi 4. Now, these things right here are little heat sinks. What they do is they diffuse heat away from the main components of your computer. And right here is your power supply with an on and off switch right here. Right here is a standard HDMI to micro HDMI cable for the monitor. Let's look a little at the Raspberry Pi itself. Alright, you can see the Raspberry symbol on the left hand side. The silver box in the middle, that's your CPU, which does most of the work for you as far as your computer goes. The one I have is pretty good, so I won't go into detail. Here is the RAM, which you ever hear computer guys ask you how much memory your computer's got? That's what they're asking. This here has a 4 gigabyte memory. Ideally, I want on a computer 8 gigabytes or more, but for my purposes, I had gotten by with 4 gigabytes of RAM on a regular computer just fine. Okay, on the side you have, on the left hand side, a USB-C for the power supply, 2 HDMI slots for video, and an audio jack. We got USB 2, 2 ports, USB 3, 2 ports, and a Ethernet cable connector for those of you still going out of the wall. This thing comes with Bluetooth and wireless, so you probably wouldn't need that Ethernet port unless you're running some really high powered stuff. Yeah, so basically that's it. So that's our first look. This whole setup costed me about between $70 and $80, which is pretty good. That's minus the monitor and the keyboard and wireless mouse, which I'm going to get from my own computer, and my gaming TV. So let's get started. Okay, we're back at the workbench. Here's the main components, and I'm going to show you how to put them together, and then we can plug her in and get her rolling. Alright, let me set my camera down and I'll show you how to do this. First of all, on the bottom, you'll see that you take your micro SD card that's got your operating system on there, and you just put it in. There you go. It's installed. And it should be able to be accessed through there. Alright, now heat sinks. This large square one, all you have to do, be a little adept at peeling off this tape. I'm going to need some help here. There we go. Okay, this is the main one. This goes right here on the CPU, and you just press it firmly on. The second one is the long rectangular shaped one. Alright, this stuff is just such a hassle to get off. There we go. Alright, you take this heat sink and put it right there on your RAM, pressing them firmly on. Then the next smallest one goes right here. That's for USB controllers. And then the smallest one is for your Wi-Fi. Just put it right there. There you go, heat sinks installed. Now we just take this, snap it into place, this is a Raspberry Pi 3 case, so I've got to finesse it. I think I'm going to run into a problem here with the memory. Okay, yes we are. Yeah. Let's see if we can install it after we get this into place. Taking out the SD card. Now we're going to run into a problem, I think. Yeah. Well, here's our next leg of the journey. We're going to download the Raspberry Pi OS. It used to be called Raspberrian, yeah. Okay, there's all kinds of confusing stuff on this page. So all we're going to do is, I've downloaded the Raspberry Pi Imager to my downloads, which is right here. You can see Imager 1.4. Execute that file. Okay, I installed it once. I don't know where it installed, so we're going to install it again. Okay, we're going to go ahead and finish, and we're going to run it. Okay, this looks good. Choose SD card first, or operating system, which would be Raspberry Pi. It's a 32 gig, that's not good. Usually you want a 64 gig. Let's see if we could. 32-bit. We want the basic. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to choose where we want our image to be stored. Okay, which is right here. It's mounted in our E port. And it says 31.9. It's really 31.2, but that 0.1 is used for operations. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and write it to the disk. And it's going to ask, because it's going to format your disk and erase everything on there. And we will wait. Alright, here we go. And that does it for that part of our show.
Please stay tuned for part 2.